So here's the thing. Meghan Markle really thought she did something with that video, didn't she? That strange little clip of her dancing around in what looks like a hospital room, visibly pregnant, blasting rap music, arms flailing in slow motion, like she's starring in some kind of emotional indie film. It wasn't just awkward, it was nuclear-level cringeworthy. And yet, somehow, she posted it like it was her magnum opus. The moment that video hit the internet, it exploded. Just not in the way Meghan probably hoped. It didn't inspire. It didn't uplift. It didn't showcase the power of motherhood. What it did was unite the internet in one collective question. What on earth did we just watch? And that's just the beginning. Before we dive deep into how this 30-second clip turned into a full-blown PR disaster for Meghan and Netflix, do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button right now. Because what's happening here isn't just gossip. It's the unraveling of a carefully crafted public image. And trust me, you're going to want front-row seats for what comes next. Let's set the stage. Meghan uploads the video claiming it was filmed 4 years ago during her pregnancy. She's dancing, or trying to, around a hospital room. Harry's in the background, but weirdly turned away, like he doesn't want to be seen. The music is loud, the lighting is off, and the whole vibe, uncomfortable, like watching someone try too hard to prove they're carefree while actually looking anything but. She does these exaggerated movements, strange poses, half-hearted twerks, gestures that don't say empowered mother, but rather scream, "Look at me." And look, people did, but not the way she wanted. Social media was ruthless. In minutes, the clip was reposted, dissected, turned into memes, and roasted from every direction. You couldn't scroll for more than a few seconds without seeing it. And not because people loved it, but because they were stunned, confused, embarrassed for her. But what really threw gasoline on the fire was the growing suspicion that Meghan was lying. She said the video was old, 4 years old, but the internet wasn't buying it. Armchair detectives zoomed in on every pixel. The lighting, the hairstyle, the hospital equipment. Even the music track in the background was cross-checked against release dates, and Harry's conveniently hidden face. That was the smoking gun. People started to say, if this really was filmed years ago, why does everything about it look so recent? The theory? Meghan posted a brand new video and tried to pass it off as old to avoid backlash. Spoiler, that didn't work, but here's where it gets even messier. Instead of taking a step back, maybe issuing a lighthearted explanation or quietly deleting the post, Meghan did what she always does. She doubled down, she framed the video as a message to her critics. Her way of saying, I'm a mother, I'm powerful, I'll express myself however I want. And look, on paper that sounds empowering, but in execution, it felt performative. Forced, like another episode in the saga of Meghan turning valid. Criticism into a tale of victimhood. She painted anyone who didn't applaud the video as bitter, unhealed, jealous. As if disagreeing with her means you must be broken somehow. It wasn't just tone deaf, it was classic deflection. And then came the bombshell. Netflix had no idea the video was coming. According to multiple sources, executives at Netflix were blindsided. They weren't told in advance, they didn't approve it. And when they saw the wave of backlash building, they reportedly reached out to Meghan privately, asking her to take it down. She refused. The video stayed up, proudly pinned, like a masterpiece, even as the internet tore it apart. Internally, Netflix started to panic. There were reportedly tense conversations between top executives, including Ted Sarandos and Greg Peters. Opinions clashed. Damage control plans were drafted. Because this wasn't just a bad look for Meghan, it was now a problem for Netflix's brand, and timing couldn't have been worse. Her new show, With Love Meghan, was already struggling with lukewarm reactions. Viewership wasn't meeting expectations. Critics weren't impressed. And now this, an Instagram fiasco that shifted the spotlight from content creator to walking controversy. But it wasn't just public perception that took a hit. Production itself started falling apart. Reshoots were delayed. Writers were asked to rework segments that included hospital or motherhood scenes. Netflix knew anything resembling that video was going to get picked apart. They didn't want a parody. They wanted prestige content, and Meghan had turned it into a punchline. Behind the scenes, the atmosphere was tense. Some crew members didn't want their names attached anymore. Brand partners grew hesitant. And yet, Meghan stood firm. She kept saying this was her expression, that society needed her voice, that America was unhealed and needed her spiritual guidance on motherhood and parenting. Yes, really, it's hard to explain how surreal this all became. Meghan, once poised for a polished rebrand, poised, elegant, inspiring, was now spiraling. Not because of an attack from the outside, not because of a smear campaign, but because she lit the match, she poured the gasoline, she stood over the flames and called it a candlelight vigil. And the worst part? She thinks she's winning. She interprets the criticism as proof of her cultural impact. The memes, the roasting, the confusion and eye rolls. To Meghan, that's all evidence she's shifting the narrative, making people talk, being bold. But the truth is, people aren't talking because they're enlightened. They're talking because they're exhausted. And while Meghan leans harder into this idea that she's some sort of misunderstood visionary, Netflix is left holding the bag, scrambling to distance themselves from a brand that was supposed to rebuild their reputation, not set it on fire. Though, irony couldn't be more brutal. Netflix originally saw Meghan as a clean slate, a global name, a fresh face with royal flair, feminist energy, and mass market potential. She was supposed to elevate the platform, not drag it into controversy. And yet, here they are, fielding internal backlash, reworking marketing strategies, and quietly asking themselves the question no one dared to voice just a year ago. Is this partnership still worth it? Behind closed doors, executives are reportedly weighing their options. Some say scale her back, give less visibility to her upcoming projects. Others say shift focus entirely, highlight different voices, different creators, and hope the storm blows over. And a few are whispering what once seemed unthinkable: pull the plug. Quietly, gradually, but permanently. But Meghan, she's not scaling back. She's gearing up. According to insiders, she's telling her team this is the exact moment to double down. She wants to speak more, post more, be more. She believes now is the time to get louder, not quieter. It's like watching a slow-motion car crash, except the driver is pressing the gas, smiling, and yelling out the window that everything is going according to plan. And maybe, in her mind, it is, because Meghan isn't just ignoring criticism, she's weaponizing it. She's turning public disapproval into proof of her authenticity. Every headline mocking the video, they're threatened. Every meme, they don't understand real motherhood. Every awkward frame, that's me being vulnerable. To her, the backlash is validation. It means she's starting a conversation. It means she's making waves. But to the rest of the world, it looks like a meltdown, a public unraveling of someone who mistakes constant attention for meaningful impact. And here's the twist that makes it all even more tragic. Meghan didn't need to do this. She had a decent public rebrand going. Wellness, parenting, thoughtful storytelling. Her interviews had softened. Her tone had matured. People weren't exactly rallying behind her, but they weren't booing either. She was rebuilding quietly and steadily. And then she detonated it with one clip, one ill-advised Instagram post, one decision to turn a hospital dance into a declaration of womanhood. She didn't just shift the narrative, she shattered it. And now she's walking through the ruins like it's a triumph. The public isn't blind. People are seeing the pattern. Meghan posts something off-putting, backlash erupts, she cries persecution, and the cycle begins again. But each time the audience grows more numb, less sympathetic, less willing to give her the benefit of the doubt, because there's only so many times you can cry wolf before people stop listening. And Meghan isn't just crying wolf, she's dressing it up in designer, filming it in slow motion, and telling you it's a TED Talk about self-love. Meanwhile, Netflix is left to figure out how to explain to shareholders why their high-profile partnership keeps making headlines for all the wrong reasons. How do you market a series about motherhood when the face of it is going viral for dancing in a hospital gown to trap music? How do you rebuild public trust when your star talent treats every PR crisis like a branding opportunity? You can't, and that's the core issue. Meghan is confusing controversy with currency. She thinks if people are talking, she's winning. But there's a difference between buzz and backlash, a difference between relevance and ridicule, between leadership and stubbornness. And right now, she's getting the wrong kind of attention, because at the heart of this story isn't just a video. It's the refusal to reflect, the inability to say, maybe this wasn't the best idea. It's the relentless push to reframe every mistake as a message. every misstep as a moment of growth, every disaster as a declaration of strength. That's not growth. That's delusion, and the public is starting to catch on. The media, for their part, haven't held back either. What began as quiet criticism on social media quickly escalated into full-blown mockery in the press. Headlines from major outlets questioned her judgment. Columnists described the video as tone-deaf, narcissistic performance art, and a misguided attempt at authenticity. Even some of her former defenders seemed stunned, not necessarily by the video itself, but by her total unwillingness to acknowledge the damage it caused. And while Meghan insists the world just doesn't get her, the real question isn't why she posted the video, it's why she's clinging to it like it's her crowning achievement, because let's be honest, this wasn't a leak. It wasn't paparazzi catching her off guard. This was a conscious decision, a calculated upload, an intentional move to shift the narrative. And it backfired spectacularly. But instead of course-correcting, Meghan turned up the volume. She gave interviews about unhealed society. She said she was showing the world what real motherhood looks like. She framed the clip as an emotional expression, a cultural contribution, even a healing experience. Healing for who? Because to the average viewer, it didn't look like a moment of empowerment. It looked like a badly executed TikTok with delusions of grandeur. And while Meghan tries to spin it as a bold feminist move, she's missing the point entirely. It's not about whether mothers can dance or whether women can post what they want. It's about judgment, context, awareness of the moment and the platform you've been given. Especially when you're tethered to a $100 million deal with one of the world's largest streaming platforms. That platform, Netflix, is in damage control mode. According to insiders, meetings are happening weekly to reassess the future of With Love, Meghan. New footage is being evaluated, PR talking points are being revised. And behind the curtain, there's real concern that this isn't just a one-time hiccup, but a sign of things to come. Because if Meghan is this unpredictable now, what happens next? What happens if she releases more footage like this? What happens if she hijacks the platform for more self-aggrandizing content? What happens if she keeps thinking this is working? And here's where it gets even more uncomfortable. Meghan genuinely seems to believe that backlash equals progress. She thinks the hate proves she's impactful, that the criticism means she's bold, but there's a big difference between making people think and making people cringe, between provoking a conversation and sparking mass confusion. And that's where Meghan keeps miscalculating. Because while she's trying to brand herself as a cultural voice, a spiritual guide, a parenting guru, the public sees someone who can't take a step without turning it into a spectacle, and spectacle without substance. That's a ticking time bomb in the public eye. Public trust is a fragile thing. It doesn't die in a scandal. It dies in a pattern, a loop, a refusal to reflect. And Meghan's pattern is starting to feel familiar. Overexposure, overconfidence, over-explanation, rinse and repeat. She keeps saying, "This is who I really am." But the problem isn't authenticity, it's delivery. You can be real without being reckless. You can be honest without being chaotic. And you can express yourself without turning every moment into a battle cry. But Meghan seems trapped in this idea that to be seen is to be controversial, that to be relevant, you have to be polarizing. And in chasing that perception, she's alienating the very audience she once tried to win over. Her defenders are dwindling, her critics are louder, and her public persona? It's slipping from misunderstood icon to self-inflicted punchline. Even among royal watchers, people who once sympathized with her departure from the monarchy, there's a growing sense of fatigue. Not because she left the royals, not because she speaks out, but because she never stops speaking, even when silence would serve her better. And as the dust continues to swirl, the silence from Netflix is becoming louder by the day. No public statements, no clarifications, no open support, just silence. And in the media world, silence from a partner usually means one thing: they're reconsidering everything. According to leaks, Netflix is quietly shifting its priorities. Internally, there's talk of pulling promotional support for upcoming Meghan-related content. Certain teams have been instructed to minimize visibility on future drops. The algorithm, it's already being adjusted to feature other series more prominently. Not a full cancellation, at least not yet, but a slow strategic fade into the background. They're hoping the storm passes. But storms like this don't pass when the source keeps fueling them. And Meghan, she's already planning her next move. More podcast monologues, more speeches about motherhood, more appearances where she insists she's misunderstood, silenced, oppressed by society's expectations. But what she's not doing, what she refuses to do, is listen, because this wasn't the world ganging up on her. It wasn't trolls or toxic fans or media bullying. It was everyday people, ordinary viewers, saying, "This doesn't feel right. This doesn't sit well. This isn't the empowering moment you think it is." And instead of hearing them, she labeled them broken. Instead of learning, she lectured. Now, the question isn't just whether the video was a mistake. It's whether Meghan Markle is capable of seeing her own missteps before they cost her another platform, another opportunity, or another ounce of public trust. Because let's be honest, Netflix can recover. They've weathered worse. Their executives know how to pivot, cut ties, or quietly bury a failed brand partnership under a pile of trending new shows. But Meghan, this may be her last reset button. The public gave her one after the Oprah interview, another after the documentary, a third after Archetypes. But eventually, the goodwill runs out. The benefit of the doubt evaporates. People stop waiting for a comeback and start tuning out completely. What happens when the world no longer cares what you say because they're too tired of how you say it? That's the real risk Meghan faces. Now, not cancellation, not censorship, but irrelevance. A slow fade into the background noise of Hollywood. A once promising voice drowned out by her own echo chamber. Because at some point, even the most loyal supporters start to wonder, is this still growth or is it just noise? And if she doesn't pivot soon, if she doesn't find a way to genuinely connect, reflect, and evolve, then this video won't just be a PR stumble, it'll be the moment people look back on and say, that's when it all started to fall apart. So if you've made it this far, you're the kind of viewer who doesn't just scroll past the headlines. You want the full story, the real story. And we're here to bring it to you, without the spin. So drop your thoughts in the comments. Was this video a bold statement or a brutal misfire? And don't forget, hit that subscribe button now if you want more honest breakdowns. No fluff, no filters, just facts and fire. Because this is just the beginning. Thanks for watching. And remember, sometimes the biggest scandals aren't caused by enemies, they're self-inflicted.